Hello friends, my name is Cynthia from Very Cherry Cakes, and today I want to go over how to make the perfect fault line cake. Now when I did start making my cake, I had a little bit of trouble with getting the fault line to be exactly how I wanted it to be. So today I'm sharing the tips that I think are important so that you can create a fault line cake like the ones that you see on Instagram. Let's get started. I'm going to start the same way that I always start, and that is by adding a little bit of glue to the center of my board so that my cake layers don't slip. And always make sure, this is a tip that I've probably shared a few times, but I like to use a 1/4 cup ice cream scoop for better measure of how much filling I'm putting into the middle of my cake. Okay, now that I went ahead and filled each of my layers, I'm going to go ahead and add a crumb coat on the outside. I don't want my crumb coat to be too thick because I will be adding a thin layer of crumb coat, then our fault line, and then the remainder of the icing that should be able to pop out a little bit on the upper and the lower parts. Also remember that I usually place a straw in the middle of my cake because it makes it a lot easier for you to start adding your crumb coat. So what it's doing is it's attaching each of those layers together so that it's not wobbling so much. For my actual fault line, I did go ahead and choose to use Flex Frost from Icing Images that I cut with my Cricut, but you can use anything else. The basic and most important thing as far as your fault line goes is to stay within the middle part of the cake so that we are able to show a fault line once we apply frosting to the top and the bottom. For this next part, what I find is easiest is to place your icing on a piping bag, and what we're going to do is we're going to pipe icing here at the top and then here at the bottom so that we can get that overlap and so it can create that fault line looking middle part. For decoration, I did go ahead and decide to pipe some swirls at the top of my cake, but you can also add a ganache drip, you can add sprinkles, you can also make this a tiered fault line cake, but here's just a basic example of how your fault line should look in the middle. And don't forget that you can also move your fault line to be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, or only on one spot of your cake. Since I did go ahead and add pink frosting to the top, I decided to add a little bit of pink to the white frosting on the bottom. So I did go ahead and wait for my white frosting to crust about 10 minutes, and then I went ahead and just dabbed a little bit of the pink frosting to give it more of a concrete / painted look. And here I'm just scraping the little bit of excess off with a long scraper. And then towards the end, I did decide to add a little bit of glam, and I'm using the Sugar Art Diamond Dust in White Diamond. And this is FDA approved, and it is edible, and it will add sparkle and glitter to your cakes or cookies. And that is exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray it while my frosting is still a little bit wet. It hasn't crusted yet, so it's able to stick onto the surface of my cake. To accent the fault line of my cake, I will be using Everclear as the dissolving alcohol, and I am using the Sugar Art New Silver. So what I'm doing here is I basically scooped out a little bit of the powder color, and I did go ahead and dilute it with a little bit of Everclear to create a paint that I will paint around the fault line of my cake to give it a little bit of a glitter, shiny, glimmery accent. And well, this is kind of how the end of my cake looks. I did go ahead and add a few candles at the top because I did make this cake for my birthday. I did turn 29, and here is a tiny video of how my cake actually looks inside. This is a rare look at the insides of my cakes. I rarely cut them on camera, or I sometimes forget and I just never get a part of me cutting it. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I hope this helps you make an awesome fault line cake. Don't forget to leave comments down below, any questions that you have, and make sure that you share this video, subscribe, and hit the like button before you go, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!